How's it going, everyone? Austin Honecker here. I just want to come on here for a while and give my review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dark Elevation from last night, which was July 26th, 2021. I gotta say, it was awesome from start to finish. For the matches, match one, it was Jungle Boy versus Mark Quinn. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Jungle Boy went over with the snare trap. Match two, it was Yuka Sakazaki versus Amber Nova. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Yuka Sakazaki went over with the airplane spin. Match three, it was Thunder Rosa versus Micah Madrid. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Thunder Rosa went over with the Pravirian Calavera choke. Match four, it was Luchasaurus versus Jora Joel. That was a squash match, but the ending to it, Luchasaurus went over with the tail whip. Match five, it was Scorpio Sky. Yeah. Match five, it was Scorpio Sky versus Fuego del Sol. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Scorpio Sky went over with the TKO. Match six, it was Angelico versus Marco Stunt. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Angelico went over with the torture rack. Well, after the match, Angelico attacked Marco Stunt by stomping on his back and everything, which that was cool. Match seven, it was Chris Statlander and Ty Conti versus The Bunny and Matty Rinkowski. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Chris Statlander and Ty Conti went over because Chris Statlander pinned Matty Rinkowski with the Big Bang Theory. Match 8, it was Wardlow versus Bear Bronson. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Wardlow went over with the Casualty of War. Match 9, it was Lee Johnson versus Luther. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Lee Johnson went over with the 630 senton. Or after the match, as Dustin Rhodes had Lee Johnson's arm around him, helping him up and everything, Miro came out and with a microphone and cut a promo and was saying that Lee Johnson's last opponent was picked by the fans, but his next opponent is picked by God. And on the August 4th edition of AEW Dynamite Homecoming, Lee Johnson, you'll be crushed into the walls. And then Miro and Lee Johnson stared each other down and everything. That was cool. Match 10, it was Eddie Kingston versus Serpentico. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Eddie Kingston went over with the back fist to the future. Match 11, it was the Lucha Brothers, which are Pena El Cerro Miedo and Rey Fenix, versus the Dark Order, which are 5 and 10. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Lucha Brothers went over because Pena El Cerro Miedo pinned 5 with the Fear Factor diving foot stomp combination from Pena El Cerro Miedo and Rey Fenix. Match 12, it was the Gun Club, which are Billy and Colton Gunn, and Brock Anderson versus Izzy James, Chandler Hopkins, and Cameron Cole. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Gun Club and Brock Anderson went over because Colton Gunn pinned Izzy James with the Colt 45, and match 13, which was the main event, it was Pac versus Chuck Taylor. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Pac went over with the Black Arrow. Well, after the match, the Death Triangle, which are Pac, Ray Phoenix, Pena El Cerro Miedo, and Alex Abrahantes, were in the ring, and the Best Friends, which are Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, and Wheeler Yuta, were in the ring having a stare down, but the Best Friends ended up leaving, and the Death Triangle continued to celebrate. And as the Death Triangle continued to celebrate, Andrade El Idolo, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant came out, and Andrade El Idolo and Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant were coming down to the ring, getting ready to fight the Death Triangle, but Chavo Guerrero Jr. whispered in the ear of Andrade El Idolo and was telling him not to waste his time and everything, and so Andrade El Idolo, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant backed off and walked backstage, while the Death Triangle were wanting to fight Andrade El Idolo, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant, but the Death Triangle stood tall in the ring and everything, which that was cool. But besides all that, Alex Marvez interviewed the Bunny, and Alex Marvez was pretty much asking the Bunny about her losses against Chris Statlander and the Blades' loss against Orange Cassidy, and the Bunny was pretty much going off saying that Chris Statlander only won because she got lucky, and the only reason the Blade lost to Orange Cassidy is because Chris Statlander got involved in that one too. And the Bunny was also talking about how she was going to rip Chris Statlander's face off and everything, which that was cool. Alex Marvez interviewed an AEW fan named James Darnell, talking about how he won the AEW Elite General Manager tournament on his iPhone or Android or whatever phone he has, and Alex Marvez was talking about how he gets to choose Lee Johnson's opponent tonight, and if Lee Johnson or the mystery opponent win, then one of them will face Miro on August 4th on AEW Dynamite's Homecoming for the AEW TNT title. So Alex Marvez asked James Darnell who he picked to face Lee Johnson, and James Darnell picked Luther. And after James Darnell picked Luther as Lee Johnson's opponent, Alex Marvez introduced referee Aubrey Edwards. So referee Aubrey Edwards came along and thanked James Darnell for playing the game and everything, and since he played the game, Aubrey Edwards awarded him the Elite General Manager title and everything, which that was cool. And Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill came out, and Mark Sterling cut a promo. Pretty much Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill came out to the ring. Mark Sterling had a microphone. Well, Mark Sterling cut a promo bashing the state of Texas and talking about how Jade Cargill needs partners and sponsors and everything because of her transition with wrestling and Hollywood and everything. And then Jade Cargill ended the promo by saying, "'Cause I'm that bitch," which that was cool. Now, besides all that, Tony Schiavone and Paul White done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. Eddie Kingston done commentary. Besides all that, Tony Schiavone and Paul White done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. Eddie Kingston done guest commentary along with Tony Schiavone and Paul White during the matches of Jungle Boy versus Mark Quinn, Yuka Sakazaki versus Amber Nova, Thunder Rosa versus Micah Madrid, Luchasaurus versus Jora Joel, Scorpio Sky versus Fuego del Sol, and Angelico versus Marco Stunt, Chris Statlander and Ty Conti versus Maddie Rinkowski and the Bunny, Wardlow versus... Hold on. But besides all that, Tony Schiavone and Paul White done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. Eddie Kingston done guest commentary along with Tony Schiavone and Paul White during the matches of Jungle Boy versus Mark Quinn, Yuka Sakazaki versus Amber Nova, Thunder Rosa versus Micah Madrid, Luchasaurus versus Jora Joel, Scorpio Sky versus Fuego del Sol, Angelico versus Marco Stunt, Chris Statlander and Ty Conti versus Maddie Rinkowski and the Bunny, and Lee Johnson versus Luther. Eddie Kingston done great on guest commentary. And Jake Hager done guest commentary along with Tony Schiavone and Paul White during the match between Wardlow versus Bear Bronson. Jake Hager done great on guest commentary. And the referees for the event were Mike Posey, Rick Knox, Paul Turner, Bryce Remsburg, and Aubrey Edwards. Okay. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Jungle Boy versus Mark Quinn. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Yuka Sakazaki versus Amber Nova. Rick Knox refereed the match between Thunder Rosa versus Micah Madrid. Paul Turner refereed the match between Luchasaurus versus Jora Joel. Mike Posey refereed the match between Scorpio Sky versus Fuego del Sol. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Angelico versus Marco Stunt. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Chris Statlander and Ty Conti versus Maddie Rinkowski and the Bunny. Paul Turner refereed the match between Wardlow versus Bear Bronson. Rick Knox refereed the match between Lee Johnson versus Luther. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Eddie Kingston versus Serpentico. Paul Turner refereed the match between the Lucha Brothers versus the Dark Order. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between the Gun Club and Brock Anderson versus Izzy James, Chandler Hopkins, and Cameron Cole. That was Aubrey Edwards, by the way. And Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Pac versus Chuck Taylor. All the referees done awesome as usual. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here for a while and give them a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dark Elevation from last night, which was July 26th, 2021. Like I said, it was awesome from start to finish. And with that being said, my name is Austin Honecker, and I will catch your ass down the road. Peace out.